Welcome to Single Parent Success Stories, a podcast designed to inspire single parents. Here you'll find resources from self-care to finances to parenting and everything in between. Discover what it takes to thrive. Let the stories inspire you to what is possible. Hello and welcome to Single Parent Success Stories. Today we have a special guest, Karleen Savage. She is a TEDx speaker, certified crisis and hostage negotiator, and a seasoned parent who stands at the forefront of empowering parents to instill confidence in their teens. With more than 4 decades of hands-on experience parenting 7 unique children ranging from ages 28 to 41, Karleen has honed her skills in navigating the complexities of raising confident and resilient individuals and has documented her approach in her new book, The Confident Teen Blueprint, a Parent Story Day Challenge to Empower Your Teen. It gives me a great pleasure to have Karleen here with us today. Welcome.
Thank you. I'm so glad to be here with you, Irina. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for coming. So please share who you are in your own words.
Boy, that gives me a lot of room to play. Karleen Savage, and I've been a mom for more than 4 decades. And it's funny because I thought I was only going to have one child.
What happened?
I know. I'm sorry. Yes, you're absolutely right. Choke on it right there. I thought I was having one and I ended up having 7, and it was the right thing to do. They kept me grounded. And I've been parenting for a long time and went and got my degrees later in life. Saw some commonalities in all the areas that I was volunteering and working in, and decided I would not just bring that experience to the table, but bring my own experience. And that's pretty interesting for me, because that's the one thing I really didn't talk about was family and how I did things and what worked and what didn't work. And when you have 7, and we actually had 10 because there was usually somebody living with us. When you have that many people in the house, you're not worried or being compelled to go out and tell anybody about it. You're just trying to manage what you have.
Right. Wow.
So yeah, that's me.
That's pretty incredible, how you were able to maintain your sanity and running your household of so many kids and, keeping everything on track. And now you're doing, teen confidence. I think that is incredible.
I don't know if the sanity is still intact, but nonetheless, we are here.
Yeah. What makes you happy?
My kids. It's really funny because I was just talking to my 34-year-old, and he was all up in the business of watching soccer. And we were talking about it, and I said, and now keep in mind the history of my son is he played and he won. He was on the team for the national championship winner in his freshman year of college. And so when we were talking, I said, I don't even like soccer. And he looked at me really odd. And I said, no, you don't understand. I like soccer if you're on the field. If you're playing, I'm all over it. I'm in the business of it. But I would never go after, watching as a spectator, just anybody play. So, yeah, I really enjoy my kids, my family, watching them now do their own thing on their own terms, in their own way. Not necessarily all the things I would agree with, but that's the beauty of it. I still can be there to catch the fall.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Awesome.
And we have a lot of those conversations, Irina.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How do you help people?
Well, conflict resolution is a help all the way around, because anybody who's breathing has it. But what I'm doing right now and really dialed into and really feel called to do is helping parents increase the confidence of their kids. And that is a big lift because, well, I have a lot of experience in it, number one. But number two, I think that we as a society don't give it the value, don't give confidence the value it deserves. Now, we are a society that believes wholeheartedly in confidence and self-confidence and building confidence, but do we believe in it enough? So I was just talking to some parents, and I said, do you believe in it enough to stop criticizing yourself? Do you believe in the confidence of your kids sufficiently that you wouldn't criticize yourself? And because the discussion was, fake it till you make it, just act like you feel good about yourself, even if you don't. And I'm so not that girl that I kind of interjected and I said, what if the alternative, I said, not that you can't, because I know that there is a script out there that says fake it till you make it. And a lot of people it works for, but what if for those people that don't, what is their option? And so my view was their option is, what if you just don't criticize yourself in front of your kids or to your kids, or you body shame yourself, or you come out and go, oh, I just don't like this outfit. What if we did that instead? And I think that we have diluted the value of building confidence to the point that we believe in it as long as, I don't even know what that looks like. As long as we do it to a comfortable level, as long as it doesn't make us have to change too much. So it's those kinds of things. And I don't know, I don't even know if I answered your question, Irina.
You did. You're so right that kids often model not what we say, but how we behave towards ourselves and what we do, not so much as what we say, but what we do. And
Right.
like to your point, if we shame our own body, we shame our own lack of something, then the kids are gonna take it upon themselves and gonna repeat that. And but how do you counteract that?
I built the confidence of my kids. One of my overarching philosophies is that they will believe that they can do anything they choose, anything they choose. Even if I don't think, even if it's not my idea, they will believe that they can do anything they choose. So now what happened is that as they got older, I remember I said something, and it was something like a little bit of a put down. And somebody said something about me like, you're so direct, and you're so forthright, or you're pretty strong, or you're intimidating, things like that, right? And I remember going, and I would go home, and you know how we do when we go home and we're going, they said this, and this is the reason, and this is the reason, and you know how we do that?
Right. Yeah.
So I went home and I was saying something and going, wait a minute, and I'm trying to process and figure it out where I'm falling short, what's happening. And so if it were the example, and my kids have done this to me as teens, this is what they did. I said something like, she says I'm so direct. And my daughter looks at me and she goes, and? Yes, I am. Say, yes, I am. And I went, oh, wait a minute. Yes, I can say that. What is the, yes, why, yes, I can. And so that really taught me a lesson that when I had my overarching philosophies, when I had the ways I wanted my kids to leave my home, and then I took it to the street and I came home with my own baggage, they looked at me like, what? Yeah, you're direct. So what? Yeah, like, yeah. So now somebody will say, okay, so here's a kicker. My daughter, she didn't get married till she was in her late 20s. And she dated a lot of guys. I mean, she just, that social app was busy, 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 and with her. And so what happened is that she would go on dates, and men would say to her, wow, you're so beautiful. And she'd look at him and she'd go, I know. And they began, and women would say it to her too in the workplace. Oh my gosh, you dress so professional. You're so stylish. And she goes, I know. I love this. I love this outfit. Things like that. And they would begin to go, that's pretty arrogant. Why do you should just say thank you. And so she heard this so much. And that is very telling of our society when you have somebody that does have a lot of confidence. And I'm not talking about a cocky confidence. She doesn't run around saying I'm beautiful. If people say it to her, she'll go, I know. She never thought to say thank you because they didn't do anything. So I remember her going, why do I need the permission of other people to admit I'm beautiful? Why can't I do that myself? Why do I need to say thank you when they had nothing to do with it?
Right.
And these are the things that happen with confident people. It's like it doesn't turn in their head that, oh my gosh, you're giving me permission to like myself. Okay, I can feel good today because you said so. Where they go, no, it just is. That's the way it is. I'm smart. That's just the way it is. The sky is blue or the sun is out. How come we're not criticizing people that go, oh my gosh, what a beautiful day? Well, that's pretty arrogant. Do you know what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
Yes, yes, yes. A statement of fact. That's how things are, as opposed to just asking for permission. You will need permission.
Yeah, yeah.
And I have like an interesting, like my older one and my youngest one. Youngest one has no like possibilities are all endless. Anything
Yeah.
is possible. With the older one, it's the opposite.
Right, right. So the younger one is just all a buzz, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So how does that go for you? Do you feel like you have to lasso or channel? I see those guys as great, brilliant, like you're everywhere. That means nothing will stop you. You'll go. Now you just need funnels. I just need to put in like like in the bowling alley, the little bumpers. I just need to put in the bumpers and align you with what you like. And so you find out more about them. So yeah, that's kind of cool. And the older one is what you said?
More restrictive, very brilliant mind, very
Oh,
artistic, very intelligent, but
I
very,
wonder
very
if they,
restrictive towards themselves and very self-depreciating.
oh, okay. Yeah, I wonder when you have brilliance, like if mom recognizes the brilliance,
Mm.
if they just don't know they don't know what to do with all that because it's so big in their head. Do you know what I mean? It's like they're speaking a language that others don't necessarily speak. They're centered in places other people aren't centered. I mean, Steve Jobs, Mark Zuckerberg, those guys are good examples of people that were just channeled someplace else. And I'm sure that that society thought that they were crazy people, but look at what they've done for us. And so sometimes those guys, I have a daughter that's just off the hook brilliant. And boy, she's sharp as a tack and very strategic, and she can work a plan for a couple years. Like she is that kind of brilliant. And um and then you look at them and the same thing with your butterfly, the one that's all a buzz. You find out where they're happy and you channel them. I remember that daughter. So my boys were big runners and they were big soccer players and they've gone really far. And so the boys would just run, 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 run. And we were all in the business of it, trying to get them up to speed. And, who's the fastest person in the world? Let's see if we can hit that mark and just doing all of that. So the daughter is coming up behind them in school. And so she starts running. And so we go to her meet and we go to the running. And so she's running and you could see it on her face, the pain and the suffering. And then when she gets to the finish line, she is vomiting everywhere. And if we pay attention, they're telling us, right? So I walk over to her and I could just see this. And really quickly, it filtered through my head. And so I walked up to her and I said, honey, I said, you don't need to keep up with your brothers. You don't even need to be them. And I said, you are brilliant. Do that. And so that she never ran again in a race like that. And, you know, she goes and does fitness now. Now she runs on her own, does her own stuff, but she totally went 180 from that after that day. And she loved books. She loved all the techie stuff, fantasy stuff, all the stuff. And now she works in one of the largest corporations in the world in tech. And it's just letting their brilliance go. So I know I was just asking about your kids, but it's like when I start hearing parents talk about the stories of their kids, it's like, there's the win. There's the win. There's so many wins in there. And did we grasp onto that and launch it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're so right. What would you say, I call it, what were the three most important things if you want to instill confidence in your teens? What would you say those three things would be?
For a parent,
For a parent.
it's so critical. And it's in my book. So it's having an overarching philosophy, one. That overarching philosophy is basically, what do you want them to know by the time they leave? I mean, I remember my first daughter left for college and I just fell apart. Anyway, when you do your first, it's like everything changes, right?
Mm-hmm.
So she's taken off to college and I turned around and I go, oh my gosh, I didn't teach her how to sew. Okay, so overarching philosophies, teaching her how to sew was not the make it or break it thing I wanted her to know when she left.
Mm-hmm.
An overarching philosophy is something like, I absolutely want them to know they are loved. Without a doubt, unconditionally, they are loved. And so that is an overarching philosophy. What is it that you want at the end of the day your kids can take with them to survive this crazy place? Number two is the mantras. Mantras are the voices that they hear in their head. You say something over and over and over. You may not say it to them, you may say it to them, but you say it other places. It's the thing that they know. This is what my mom or my dad will always say. Like, one of the things, so my husband and I, we parented very differently. And so my kids would go, Dad's always going to say no. That is the voice in their head. They always know he will say no. Okay, the mantras, different from affirmations. Affirmations, I think, have gotten a bad rap now because we've overused this, overinflated them, and we've fake it till we make it kind of things with affirmations. Tell yourself you're capable and you're good, and even if you're not believing it, that kind of thing. If you tell yourself 5 times every day, then you're going to start to believe it. Those kinds of things. I'm not that girl. So it's not that it can't work for people. It can. It just didn't work for me. So mantras are the thing. It's the organic, the natural things you say all the time that your kids will walk out into the world and go, my mom always says this, or I hear her telling me to do this, right? So one of the things is that my kids just came home this last week and they said, Mom, we're not supposed to give up, right? We don't give up. We don't quit. And I said, yeah, like, and I'm going, what's going on? What's going on that you're saying this? But that's the voice in their head, because though that particular child was in soccer and we all through his life, you know how when they play soccer, they fall and they fake a fall in order to get the foul. Well, when my kids were young, they started doing that because they were mimicking what they saw. And I was like, what's happening? When I saw my son do it, and he was right in front of me. I was on the sideline and he was right in front of me and he fell and he pretended to get hurt. He didn't know what he was doing. He was only 9, I think. So he fell down and I said, get up. And because we were in the middle of the game. And then afterwards, we always did a debrief kind of thing. And I didn't realize we did, but we did. So afterwards, I said, look, if that is your best game, then you need to rethink the sport. You need to rethink where you're at. And he was only 9, but it was like, no, we don't do that. We use who we are. We use our skills. If we don't have them, we learn them, we find out, we do it. And so when he came over last week, he was like, we don't quit. And I was like, yeah, you're right. We don't quit. The voice in their head, that's a mantra for them. Another one that we had is, look, no matter what, I'm going to love you. So when you're looking at a conflict situation, because that's my specialty, is working and doing this in conflict. When you look at a conflict situation, you have a mantra. The mantra is you will go in for the attack, right? And you'll go in, I need, you did this, you shouldn't have done this, how dare you, whatever. What if instead the mantra that you have is, look, I got to talk to you, but I want you to know I love you. I love you, love you, love you. But there's a problem. I heard about this. This isn't acceptable. What happened? How did that happen? What made you think that it was going to work out that way? How did you, and you start doing that, they will hear that mantra over and over because maybe the situation of conflict changed, but my lead-in didn't necessarily change. My lead-in was, hey, I love you. Just know that. Whatever's happening, whatever you feel like you can't talk to me about, I love you. If you can't talk to me right now, let's figure out a way that you can. How can we get to that place? So it's the lead-in. So that's what a mantra is it's the things you're saying every day. So you can do an inventory of the things you say every day. You can ask your kids, what do I say all the time? You say no. You say you love us. So what I was going to share is in that conflict situation, my daughter, my adult daughter, she was really struggling one Christmas and she was just not having it. And she comes from some experiences of a lot of trauma. And so when she did, she was exploding at that particular time. And she was cussing like a sailor and not having it, hated everybody. And I looked at her and I said, why? Why are you doing this to me? And she looked at me and this has a double-edged sword. She looked at me and she says, because I can. I know you're going to love me. You will always love me. That's never going to change. And I went, crap. I don't know if I like this idea, but I do like the idea that she believed that so heartily that she could come and really unload. And then because of that conversation that we had where she said, because I know I can, because you're going to love me no matter what. I heard the mantra. She's right. I said that to her entire life. I'm going to love you no matter what. I don't care if you kill somebody. And I would say, I don't care if you kill somebody. It's not going to be right and you're going to be held accountable, but I will love you. And so that's the benefit of the mantras. So choose your mantras. You can have, in the book, I have you make a list of mantras. I have another book coming out. It's called Mantras, and I give like 100 mantras in there and all different ways to use them. But it's different than affirmations. Anything there before I go on to number 3, Irina?
No, I love that. I love the mantras, and you make a good point. Sometimes we don't notice the things we say because we are ourselves so much. It's only when you pay attention, and I think it's a great idea to let you ask your kids, what do they hear you say all the time?
Right.
You make a
Yeah.
great point, kind of a reflection. Because you think you may be like all this good, and then the thing you say are not so good.
That's right. And a lot of times we'll answer the questions for ourselves. Oh, I say this and I say this. And then you go to your kids and they'll go, no, you don't. Or you're going to ask your kids and they're going to say, oh, gosh, I don't know. And then you're going to get mad at them and they'll go, that's what you always say.
Yeah.
And it's like, crap. Okay. Yeah, I won't say that. I'm going to change that. So you get your mantras down and it comes off of knowing your overarching philosophies too. So they all work together. So number 3 is your implementation plan. So implementation is how do you ensure the overarching philosophy gets done? I want them to always know that they're loved no matter what. Okay, my mantras are going to help with that in conflicts in every day. I'm sitting at the dinner table and go, they say something that's brilliant. I'll go, oh my gosh, you're so brilliant. That's amazing. And that's a way to use that mantra and implement. Now, implementation also looks like, what is the real thing you're going to do to ensure that that happens? Mantras will take you a certain point, but what else are you going to do? So if my overarching philosophy is I want my kids to know they are absolutely loved no matter what. Okay. And part of the way I secure that is through my mantras, through various statements of my mantras. It's like, oh my gosh, you know what? If you killed somebody, I would totally love you. Now, I would not stand with you. I would not stand with you. You would go to jail. And I would have to report you if you pushed me that far. If you couldn't do it yourself. I mean, these are the things I would actually say. But here's my implementation plan. Starting when they were very young, because that was a philosophy of mine, a belief system I had, there has never been a time that I have gotten angry at them, where I put them on timeout when they were little, when I swatted them on the bottom and sent them to their room, when I heard a rumor. There was never a time that I didn't go back, circle back, talk to them, and tell them, hey, you know, you can't go around hitting people at school. That might be to a 4-year-old. You can't go around hitting people. You're going to end up getting into all sorts of trouble. People are going to get the wrong idea about what an amazing, brilliant, wonderful little boy you are. You can't do that. And I'm not gonna stand by and let you do that. I have to correct that too. So here are the consequences. Just know that I love you. You are the most amazing, brilliant. Your skills are, you're so friendly, and you've helped your friends and you've helped other people. That is how I implement that they know that they know they are loved no matter what. I just implement that. The offense of I don't know what it's called. Sometimes I call it crime, when they do the wrong things, according to what our parenting philosophies are. When they do the wrong things, the crime is never the problem. I mean, the situation is the problem, but they are not the problem. The crimes will change over time, and they will get bigger and smaller and varied and off the charts and, run in very typical flow. But the thing that they will know at the end of every single negative situation is that I am there and I love them, and that's never going to change. And I will tell them in all these different ways and in all these different scenarios. So my implementation is, yeah, we got to deal with the garbage, but I'm going to stand with you as we deal with it. I love you. I am here for it. I will, I just did it with, I'm coaching a mom on parenting. I feel like it's The Nanny, that show, The Nanny, because I'm coaching this mom, and she was being very resistant on, tell me why you're doing this. I need to understand how you got here. And so when I was doing it, she would just stand there in silence. And she's a mom of 2, and yet she was very 13 in the moment, right? And so I said to her, I said, look, I'm in this with you. I said, I will stand here till tomorrow if that's what we need to do. So I'm in for the long haul. I just want an answer to the question. I want to understand what's happening because I'm here. So she very quickly got, oh, she's here. She's in it. And that is indirectly a love, right? When you tell your kids, hey, I'm in it with you, I'm there, I will stay up all night, all day. I can outdo this conversation and go as long as I need to in order for us to get to the end. And that suddenly can lift a room and lift a situation. So that mom that I was talking to in that situation, she just like opened up. I don't know how to do this. And so anyway, it was beautiful. And that's on the other side of all this mess. So those are the three. It's overarching philosophies, mantras, and your implementation plan.
I love it. I think there is a lot of information, but implementation when missing, then it doesn't go anywhere. And I love that you incorporate it in your three things. Not do you just tell people how to do it, but this is the actual plan. How do you make it part of your day-to-day living, and you make it a practice? So then essentially you would change who you are, and by default your teens, your family will change as well, because how you respond to them, they will reflect back to you what they see.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I hope that I do hope that helps, and I don't intend to hijack your podcast. I'm so sorry.
No, no.
Yeah,
What is your superpower if you had to pick one?
I see people.
Okay.
I can, and having a background in conflict resolution, having a background in all the areas that I have, I see I can spend a few minutes with somebody and I can see their conflict style. I can see what they do to push buttons. It's very interesting. Like if I'm in a class and we're doing these exercises, it's very quickly I can see people. And then you understand, oh my gosh, that's why you're having the problems that you're having. It's not because people are terrible. It's because they've learned skills that aren't useful for them. And so break the chain, get the new skill. The interesting thing is all the skills that I use, all the skills that are used in hostage and crisis and mediation, because I do mediation in courts,
Mhm.
all those skills, every single person has. Just somebody kicked the crap out of that and they're struggling and trying to survive it rather than being able to refine that skill again. And that's all it is.
Mhm. You're right. You're right. So I'm curious, what is my conflict style?
These are terrible things to do, like in front of people, because
Oh,
it's such an intimate thing.
okay.
Do you know what I mean? Um, so, hmm, yeah, this is emboldened in forever. So, one of the things that I see is, I think you have an internal confidence, but I think in America with the accent, people have messaged to you that it is less than possibly or different than or doesn't get as much value. And spending time with you would elevate and allow people to actually see you. But what that does is it puts you in a position to go, okay, you're right, not me. And when in reality, you and I have spent some time together before this, and you are a hoot and you have such a vision. And just for the people that are listening, when she is not like on mic and trying to elevate somebody else like me right now, you have so much, um, you have valuable, thoughtful processing. And you really have a place that you're going and you're landing. But I think you feel like you're hitting the battle, you're going upstream, salmon going upstream. And that conflict style is I will let people kick me around because they don't understand where I come from, what I'm made of. They don't understand. And they've delivered that message indirectly because of the cultural background and um and and your unconscious soul has absorbed that.
Okay.
What are your thoughts? Is that too crazy? Is that talk to me? Talk to me.
I don't know. I don't know. I think in the past it was conflict avoidance, would be more peaceful. I don't want to start a fight, so I'll
Mm-hmm.
be quiet about things that I shouldn't be quiet about.
Mm-hmm.
So avoidance before.
And we talked about that a little bit before when we met before. We talked about your history
Mhm.
and you did avoid the conflict, but it comes down to a value system. You absorbed that, and which is kind of what I was talking about. You've absorbed it.
Mhm.
But the thing is that you're really brilliant in there, and you really do have a design. Am I right?
Yes,
Yeah, you really do have a site that you're wanting to go to.
I do.
And I believe it's to elevate women who have come out of messy situations and need to be lifted, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and the thing is that sometimes, all that messes with us, messes with our head.
Mhm.
And so then we go slower than we're capable sometimes, because it's like, oh man, I've got to regroup. I've got to plan this new family. I've got to figure out what it looks like for my family. And I've got to figure out how do I make money. And, the image that we had together, the dreams I had, all of that stuff devalues us from the outside. And yet, when I talk to you, brilliance. You know where you want to go, and just the messy gets in the way.
Thank you. Thank you. I love that. Is there any fun projects you're working on that you like to share?
Well, I told you, so yeah, I'm doing a bunch of this whole year
Mhm.
is the Confident Team Blueprint. That's this whole year. I'm finishing up my second book, which is mantras, the value of mantras versus affirmations. How do you deliver mantras? What are some mantras that are natural flow mantras, not fake it till you make it, not and not even like something that feels unnatural to you. What does that look like? Once you start getting that in line, so that's my other project. And I think it's a great tandem book for the Confident Team Blueprint. So yeah, I'm really loving that. I'm speaking several times this year, Miami and the US Nannies Association. I've got several interviews lined up. I just did MSNBC and NBC Palm Springs. So all of those are super exciting because, well, like you, we're slow to grow, right? Sometimes, I don't know about you, but I sometimes have been slow to grow. I sometimes have put the welfare of my kids above myself, and that's not a good thing. It's not a good thing, not a good look. And so, but I really dialed into the stuff where I'm going now, and I'm very excited about it. So thanks for asking.
Awesome. Cool. Congratulations. And it's amazing, your second book and the speaking engagements. That's incredible.
What are you doing?
That's what I want to do more of, do speaking engagements. I'm working also on my solo book. I've done,
Oh,
how you call it, contributions, chapter contributions. I've done 5. So now my 6th one is going to be my solo. So hoping,
so is the sixth one the one that you're just doing all by yourself then?
yes, yes.
Oh, nice. And all the other fives have been contributions from other people, right?
Yeah. Well,
Oh,
chapters,
so good.
collaboration.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
yeah, love
that's
it.
for this year. And yeah, speaking, sharing the message of upliftment and believe in yourself and reclaiming the life. And
You and I are going to be amazing at the end of this year.
that's the plan.
Yes.
Awesome. Is there anything I haven't asked that you would like to share?
No, um, what an amazing woman. I hope that you feel that, um, I hope you feel a contribution that I contributed to you and to your listeners. And that would be my wish, that I leave you better than I found you.
Yes, that's my mantra. I leave you
Oh,
better than I found you. That's my
yeah,
philosophy.
yeah,
And yeah,
love
thank
it.
you so much for coming and sharing. I have not had a discussion on confidence, and especially for teens. So you do bring a lot of value, and I learned a great deal about myself and also the things I can do with my kids to improve their
Oh, I'm so glad. Thank you.
well-being as well. If people
Thank
would
you.
love to connect with you or learn more about you, where would they go?
Go to Karleen. Yeah, you can go to my website, karleensavage.com, forward slash. If you get on my wait list, so wait list, if you go to my wait list, karleensavage.com forward slash wait list, that is going to invite you to, oh my gosh, it's so exciting. That is going to invite you to a 30-day challenge with me. If you join the 30-day challenge with me, you get the free digital download of the whole book. And you get to go and take a parenting style quiz. So I'm really excited about that, which tells you it's 7 questions that gives you 7 outcomes, 7 different parenting styles, and you'll learn a little bit more about yourself. So karleensavage.com forward slash waitlist.
Awesome. Thank you so much. We
Yeah,
will include everything in episode notes. It's been a pleasure to have you and learn from you. Thank you so much.
you bet. Bye.
Bye.